So before we let Khairul share his sharing, so this webinar is organized by Agile30. So today I'm here to share what do we actually do. So we are a community. We want to invite people to become a part of thriving community where Agile enthusiasts can connect globally. So second one is we're going to boost skill with a tailor for different type of membership program. So including job process, people, product development, and leadership. So Agile30 also will be a top-notch mentorship program without breaking the bank because we have so many different resources in our website, and also we will have conducted weekly live with experts. So please, you are welcome to join us. This is free. So other than that, we also have some NEVA programs, some workshop, which you can join us without spend too much money, of course. So other than that, last but not least, beyond the certifications and training, so let Agile30 to be your in your personal and your professional growth. So this is how Agile30 works. First, we offer so many good things. We can also share to you that we have called Agile30 LinkedIn. So feel free to join us as members so that you can get the first updated news. Same for the Agile30 Facebook group. There's many informations and so on is available. And also we have a meetup group. You can also follow us and join us, even you can take first the sessions. And also last but not least is our website. Our website is still doing enhancement and improvement. So in the future, we will make use of the website as our main place to do the sharing and updates for all upcoming events. So feel free to follow us. And Michelle also helped me to paste the group in the group chat with all the links. So you are welcome to also join and connect with me and also Khairul for today's guest. So that's all from me.
All right, thank you, Jane. So, Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Before we start with our session today, let me tell something about myself. My name is Khairul Redzwan. Currently, I'm at home at Bandar Baru Bangi, Selangor, Malaysia. For developing software, we are following what our senior did, UML, SDLC, and of course, Waterfall was the way forward. Then in 2002, I began my 70 years long journey as researcher, developer, technical lead, and product owner for Telecom Malaysia R&D in Cyberjaya. Some of my R&D works and topic of interest are networks forensics, copper fiber technology, VoIP, IPTV, and hybrid network. In 2019, I joined a POS retail company as a project manager, and am now a development manager. Most of the time, I play my role as Scrum Master. It has been a long and still an amazing journey, especially in Scrum and Agile. So without further ado, let us start. So our topic today will be simplifying success, a guide to configure Scrum in your organization. Honestly, talking about this topic is very challenging. Is the same practice implementable in your organization? Can this be the ultimate solution for each of you? How can we approach it to avoid failure? I still remember when I was in GMR&D, when I was first introduced to Scrum framework around 2017. Back in the days, I was one of the rebel resisting the idea of Scrum. So when I first heard about all those ceremonies and events, I immediately felt that would be a waste of time. As a typical waterfall thinker, I will argue that all the time should be invested in development and not in this kind of ideas. Just recalling all those CMMI, ISO, Six Sigma documentation, and hordes of information made me completely rejected the idea. Even in one of the sessions with my former CEO, I expressed my frustration about management forcing us to accept the idea. And she said to my face, Kai, of all the people that I hope to lead this idea, I'm very disappointed to hear this from you. You're not even giving any chance. More or less like that, can remember the right word. And this struck me deep. Why couldn't I give this idea a chance? So from that moment, I knew I made a big mistake. My ability as a researcher is to seek the truth, not to judge things of the unknown. Then I began my journey learning my Scrum by myself, but the learning curve was not fast enough, and I needed more. The so-called Agile coach appointed by the top management was also the head of department, which I, of course, personally objected to. This was clearly and totally a red flag. The Agile coach should be the one who guides the Scrum team to work together as a team. Appointing some hotshot as an Agile coach who has the same level of knowledge and understanding of Scrum as us is not helpful at all. And that is truly proven to be a very big mistake. But that is another story to share, another time and place to tell. I truly believe my former organization is now a better place applying Agile and Scrum. It is what it is, as I'm now kind of like a protector of Scrum and the defender of agility concept myself. And that is what I want to share with you, ladies and gentlemen. Our today's session will be divided into 3 segments. It's not a long presentation. Sorry, less than 20 slides. And I hope we have more for Q&A. The first one is called Once Upon a Time. In this segment, I will explain a little bit about the history of Agile Manifesto of Software Development. For me, it's important to learn the history because it teaches us not to make the same mistake again. The second session is called It's Time for Us to Configure. In this segment, I will share things that I've learned, how to implement them with my team, and how the sprint helped us to deliver value. The last session is called the Scrum Retrospective, the most important session to encourage continuous improvement. I will also explain and share how we can do retros the effective way. And yeah, feel free to jump in with questions and thoughts. I'm here to share and learn together with all of you. So let us continue. A little bit about where I'm working right now. I'm currently working at LS Retail. LS Retail is one of the MNC company here in Malaysia. It is an international Icelandic-based company situated in Reykjavik, Iceland. We have our development office in US, Portugal, Dubai, Singapore, and Malaysia. As you can see on the left side of this slide, this is our solution, the LS Central, the POS, Point of Sale Unified Commerce Solution. We have 30 years, we have 30 years of experience in POS solution, providing a unified commerce solution to retail, hospitality, food services, and forecourt businesses of all sizes. If you're lucky and have experience working behind the counter, you might have used or found our solution running behind this great technology. We have a presence all over the world. We have more than 100,000 global customer base location installed in more than 157 countries. LS Retail has been named as one of the largest point of sale supplier in the world, according to the RBR annual report. We, along with our partners all over the world, have on board lots of customers with different sizes and shapes, from small retailers to global brands with thousands of stores and POS systems. As you can see in the slide, we provide our best solution to them. Our largest customers are in the UK, Europe, and the Asian region. You can read more about our success story in implementing our solution on our portal at this link, lsretail.com/customers. We have now seen the LS Retail solution, but what about the technology and people behind? This is where all the magic happened. It seems like a very complex and difficult environment to manage. There is 12 independent teams actually work seamlessly toward one common goal to produce one great solution. But with Scrum and Agile, way of doing it, we managed to make it easier, simpler, and faster. By the way, that is our development mantra. Every team has its own module to deliver and code to release. For example, our Avengers team handle the core backend of our solution, the green box here. Hardware station, self-checkout, app shell, inventory, and scan, pay, and go. Another team, such as the Rocket team, handle the fashion and replenishment module. 5 out of this team are co-located here in Bandar Utama, Selangor, Malaysia. Even though our team is based in KL, our developers are scattered around the world. Like our fashion team, majority of us in KL, but our product owner is in Vienna, Austria. Half of our DevOps teams is here in KL, and the rest are located in our HQ in Iceland and Copenhagen, Denmark. This is example of a very complex environment where our developers are scattered around the world. And there is a lot of advantage and disadvantage to this setup, but it is what it is. We have to live it, accept our limitation, and embrace the challenges. One of the things that really help us manage this complexity is to introduce the golden hour. Here in Malaysia, the golden hour is from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. This is usually the busiest hour in LS Retail Bandar Utama. It's the time where we collaborate the most and communicate with our developer all over the world. No matter how busy we are, we respect each other time and time zone. We value family time the most, but we always deliver our quality work at the end of the day. So complexity is manageable if we know how to handle it. And of course, Scrum help us lay out the foundation to do that. Any question for these slides? No? Let us move to the next slide then. Once upon a time. A little bit of history lesson before we start. Have you seen this picture or read the manifesto? Yes? No? Everyone? I'm sure some of you may have. In the 90s, several software development methods started to emerge. There is Scrum, Crystal, adaptive software development, extreme programming, and many more. They started tinkering around and experimenting with software development methodologies to try and solve the problems they have seen during their professional careers. Until one day, these pioneers and creators finally met at Snowbird, Utah in 2001. Ken Schwaber, Jeff Sutherland, Alistair Cockburn, and many more came out from this meeting with an agreed manifesto called the Manifesto for Agile Software Development. In conclusion, this manifesto said they value X more than over Y. It's not that they are rejecting Y, it's just that they feel that moving forward, the software development community should value item on the left more than the right. The Manifesto of Agile Software Development is just a reminder, a guide, a statement on how we execute, deliver, and make decisions, especially in software development. I'm not going to go through all the principles and value behind it because it will be a whole new topic itself. But why am I showing this? Why we need to learn this and that? Why is the rainbow beautiful, you might ask? Why are they attacking on October 7th? Why are we celebrating Independence Day? The answer always takes back to where it all started. History helps us understand things and helps you to convince people around you, the management or the organization, to accept an idea that can change things. From this history lesson, we know that comparing Scrum and Agile really is like comparing apples to oranges. It makes no sense. It's like putting two things that aren't really in opposition to one another. They are not in the same category. Scrum is one of the several methods that emerged in the 90s. So if you are using Scrum, so you are using Agile as well. Now let's talk about some terminology or definition. I'm very fortunate to have years of research experience, so fully understanding the basic terminology of topic of interest really helps. Two of the common words that we always came across when learning Scrum and Agile methodologies are methodologies and framework. So the first one is methodology. Methodology is a set of principles to achieve a goal. It's a guided process. The second one is framework. Framework is a structure that is not rigid and allow flexibility. It provides foundations and it can be customized. Let's try and imagine this. How to build a house. What are the things that needed to be considered to build a house? Of course, we will start with building a floor, then with a set of pillars, then with a roof and ceilings, and lastly, with some doors and windows. This is how we build a house. It's a methodology of building a house. But what about framework? This is framework. A framework is a blueprint or a plan of how to build a house. Just remember, these are the basic infrastructure. In the future, we might want to renovate, revamp, or decorate it into a beautiful red house. But we might not want to stop there. Maybe we want more, a more practical or bigger house. Something like this. A tree house, not so much a house. A factory house, or maybe just a more lovely and improved house. So it's up to us how we want our house to look like. In software development context, it's up to the decision maker to decide which framework will work with the organization. Hiring a consultant might help, but they are not there on a daily basis. Only the organization know what is perfect for the environment and their culture. There's a lot of choice, and please choose wisely. Stick with the framework that we can improve, configure, and customize as we moving forward. One of the framework of choice, and Agile is the methodology. One might agree that Agile is a mindset rather than just a set of processes and practices because it emphasizes on certain values and principles. I couldn't agree more. And yes, Agile is mindset, but it's also a culture and environment that everyone on the team that must buy into for it to work. It mostly decided not just a mindset alone. So without the culture and the environment, the idea of Agile will lose its intended value. But of course, it's just my opinion. There is no written rules or facts about this. We can always agree to disagree and move on. So now what is Scrum? What does this framework do? In simple words, Scrum helps teams and the team generate values, and this value generate continuously. But some will question if Scrum comes from rugby. Yes, of course, this word originated from rugby. The idea of Scrum comes from this philosophy. In rugby, the idea of working together is important. If the team want to score point, they need to go forward to score points, and they need to move together in unified formation. And at Alice Retail, Scrum really helps us. We have been doing Scrum since 2017. It helped us improve the processes and culture. It also helps the team and company deliver valuable and quality products. When I joined Alice Retail in 2019, they were only in their second year of implementing Scrum and the idea of Agile. But to my surprise, they had a matured on understanding of these concepts. Of course, the experience is different from one team to another, but this is amazing because quite frequently I found that many organizations fail to implement this, even though they have tried it for more than 5 years. So what is the secret? What is LS Retail's secret to implementing Agile and Scrum? We will explore this as we go to the next slide. It's time for us to configure. What we will configure? We will now configure our Scrum. In Scrum, there are 5 important events. I'm sure many of you know this, but if you don't worry. Jane will help you on this. She's the expert. She will definitely help you with this, right, Jane? As I was saying, Yeah, as I was saying, in the sprint, we have 4 events. We have planning, daily video, review, and retro. These events are compulsory, and these are the basic element in Scrum. But there is one more event missing here. Anyone? Anybody? What is the missing event in this? Sorry? The sprint? Yes, it is the sprint itself. The sprint is the bigger part of all these 4 events. All these events are time boxed and they occur in one cycle of sprint. So what is sprint? This is sprint. Sprint are the heartbeat of a Scrum, where ideas are turned into value. Remember, this is a baseline sprint, or sometimes I call this 353 baseline sprint. The 3 roles, 5 events, 3 artifacts. Some people remind me it's 3535, Khairul. You forgot the 5 Scrum value, but it doesn't matter at this point. What I want you to remember now is just the red house framework from the previous slide. This is your sprint framework. This is your blueprint. As long as you are not abandoning or any of these basic, upholding its value, delivering the right value, you are doing Scrum and you are totally fine. If you want to build a treehouse sprint, yep, carry on. A factory sprint, certainly. A lovely red house sprint, be my guest. It's up to you now to configure it. How simple and how complex it is up to you. It's your sprint. And now, how does LS Retail sprint look like? Or what I always call the configured sprint. This is the configured sprint. Pretty much the same, right? This is how we do it. This is the LS Retail way. First, let us look at the first artifact of Scrum, the product backlog. At LS Retail, we are assisted by tools. We use Azure DevOps bots to keep tracks of all user stories, epic, issues, and hot fixes. Because of our distributed team located all over the world, we use Microsoft Teams extensively. A good internet connection is a must. We also find that refinement sessions are important. We use this session to groom and refine our backlog for clarity. One of the advantages of having this session is that we shorten our planning time because our question from the development team has been answered during the session. We also preset our acceptance criteria in the product backlog. We set our definition of ready, DOR, and definition of done, DOD, beforehand to ensure we have everything in place. The planning time and sprint backlog. In this session, we have our sprint data in Excel form ready during the planning session. This sprint data help us with the story point assignment and capacity planning. We also set our goals during the planning to ensure we have the right direction. Inspection and adaptation are the key point here. The Scrum team. The Scrum team consists of the development team, a Scrum Master, and a product owner. Other than that individual, we call them as friend of Scrum. It can be the product director, development manager, the consultant, and the support team. It can be anyone who has an interest on our deliverables. The sprint duration is varied. Sometimes teams employ a 2-week sprint and some adopt a 3-week sprint. It all depends on complexity, functionality, and such, and it rarely changes. On top of that, we have our development principle. We uphold our development principle to ensure quality in our work. We also have PO meetings meet up to ensure we are on the right track with our product vision. The dailies. The timing is different for each team. Each team makes use of our golden hour to ensure everyone in their team has the same awareness of what can be accomplished during the next 24 hours. If there is any issue, bug, or support that need our attention, we will also highlight it in this session. The support team call this happy hour. I don't know the exact story of why they call it that. Probably because they love answering our customers' questions. We also highlighted the 3 most important technical best practice from time to time to our developer. As I mentioned before, quality is our focus in our development work. The review. We have our review at the conclusion of the sprint. Because we use Microsoft Teams, we can record our session. All our session will be posted to our workgroup page, kind of like a Facebook for our company. It's a good way so that everyone in the whole company know what we are doing and what is accomplished. They can post questions at their own time, and the development team can always answer back using the same post. This saves time for everybody. And of course, we share our findings and materials in our SharePoint. So everybody has the access to the same document and the increment. The product owner has the final say on the increment. Of course, this will be discussed with the product director whether it will be in the next major release. Our DevOps teams also came up with a cool way to update the team on releases. They have their plugin called the DevOps Release FM to update on build failure, hotfixes, release note, and other important things. And last but not least, the retrospective or retro. At LS Retail, we have Kaizen Council. At this council, we gather feedback from all the team for development overall improvement. We decide that every sprint, we have at least one improvement for every running sprint. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. Sometimes it's all about tackling the technical debt, and sometimes it as small as we want our daily to take place. We produce and update our team contract when it's needed. And we frequently update the team wiki page for everyone in the company to see the wiki page. So the wiki page is where we can learn about the team, what the team do, and what they have accomplished. So this is the red house of Else Retail. This is how we configure our sprint and Scrum. Now, my question to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, can this setup work for you? Anybody? Any opinion? Can this setup work for you?
I just think it works. But just a question for you: the Scrum team. How do you configure the mindset of the team itself? I mean,
we are not configure the mindset of the Scrum team. We are using the Scrum value as a guideline to set our culture and our things that we want to go forward as a team. So that is a guideline on how we are moving forward and set the correct mindset for everyone in the team.
Yeah, since you say LS Retail started in 2017, right?
Yeah.
And may I know how many years it took for them to adopt to that culture, understanding about Scrum and practicing?
Yeah, surprisingly, as I said before, prior to join in 2019, I found that the LS Retail has already been advanced in understanding the essences of the Scrum. And also, it's pretty much different from one team to one team, but overall, they have the same understanding, and also they have. I do believe they have like a very good Scrum Master before I'm joining the organization, because everybody have the same understanding. So that is what happening in LS Retail.
All right, thank you. Because I had experienced the team a bit difficult to adopt those things, even though we have all these sprint structured.
Okay.
It has been practiced for 2 years, and it's not really. That's the reason. If there's any specific way to enhance the team itself on the awareness of Scrum practice. Thanks.
To allow they appreciate the Scrum is we need to introduce the Scrum as simple as we can, not as big or small, but as simple as we can. So along the way, they will appreciate it. If it's not complex, if it's not hassle, then definitely they will accept it as we introduce it to them. So
Yeah, thanks.
yeah, thank you very much for the questions.
Yeah,
So
Khairul, sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
I have a query on definition of done and definition of ready. Can you explain that?
definition of done and definition of ready. So we set the definition of done and ready beforehand in the refinement session. This kind of like a guideline for all the user stories that we have been created. So let's say we need to have let's say the simplest way to explain this, we need to have like an online help or the online help or release note ready before we can consider the user stories is already done. I mean, is already complete. So we set off like some sort of acceptance criteria before we can consider it like a done works. So it's kind of like a
Yeah,
set requirement beforehand.
before the product backlog refined.
Yeah, during the product backlogs, during the refinement session.
Okay, thank you.
So the question is again, can this setup work for you? The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is a big no. This never will work in your organization, but a little yes. No, because this setup and configure screen will never work in your organization. And just a little bit of yes, because some of it is a well-known thing and it can only be as an option to you. This is because this setup has been designed and improved within the LS retail environment and culture. It takes years to achieve this, but this setup and Scrum in general really helps us delivering the value. And some of you might ask, can we actually configure our sprint? Of course you can. Scrum doesn't tell you what you cannot do. Scrum promote empiricism and continuous improvement. So please configure your Scrum. If you are not starting your Scrum yet, my recommendation is to start with a simple and basic Scrum and configure it along the way. If you're already running your Scrum, you can always check back your processes. Ask yourself, is your team delivering you the right value? Are you minimizing the complexity? Is your current setup giving your team a platform to communicate? I can't tell you that you are doing this right and you are doing this wrong because I'm not working in your company and I'm not living in your organization values. Only you know what works and what doesn't. To allow Scrum success in your team or even in your organization, it needs to come from the team itself and evolve within the organization. Make sense? Any question before we move on? No? Anything else? So the next big question now is, how would you configure your Scrum? Yes, this is where and how you configure your sprint. The Scrum Retrospective. The Scrum Retrospective or the Retro is the most underrated event in the sprint, but it's the most important event in the sprint if you want to uphold the continuous improvement processes. At LS Retail Retrospective session, we inspect and adapt the processes, interaction tools, and individuals. All comments are welcome, all feedbacks are respected. Anything that we can improve as a team. Almost 80% of all the things that I've shown you in the configured way slide are the outcome of this session. This is where and how you will improve. The processes, the collaborations, the communication, or even the culture of your organization. Teams are allowed to openly say what is on their mind. You also use our retrospective session to ensure everyone has the equal chance to shine and most importantly, improve as a team. They can also suggest any new things that they want to try out in the next sprint to improve. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. Please, by all means, you can abandon the idea and move on. If it works, then it works. This is one of the output example coming from our retro session. It is the evolution of our sprint rotation sheet. So for your information, the sprint rotation sheet is used to maintain and keep track of our team rotation for responsibility. It's related to happy hour, sprint review, handling presentation for Apex meetings, individual availabilities, and annual leave. As you can see in 2019, we used to keep track of our rotation sheet on our team physical whiteboard. Since COVID struck us in 2019, we moved into an online view and a shared Microsoft Word files. Over time, this rotation sheet has evolved, and now this is the current rotation sheet. It is now available internally, online, and can be accessed by anyone in our organization. Like I said in the previous slide, it can be a big continuous improvement, or it can be as small as this. As long as it brings values to the team, then you are good to go. So that's about it. These are the three key takeaways from my session. Number one, always start your Scrum simple, not small or big, just as simple as you can. The basic sprint is your guideline. Ask somebody or hire somebody, usually a Scrum Master, who has the experience and expertise to guide you on this. Number two, configure your own Scrum for your own organization. Nobody outside your organization knows how is your cultures and how things work. A good Scrum Master or maybe an Agile coach should be the one who is accountable and experienced to help you. If you are a Scrum Master yourself, these are the things you need to master. Help and empower your team and your organization to deliver the right value. And number three, retrospective session helps. Never abandon this session. This is where and how you will evolve your Scrum. I think that is all, but before I end the session and continue with the Q&A session, I would like to give a special thanks to Agilemania for having here to share my experience. For your information, Navin, if you know Navin, is my first guru on Scrum. He's one who introduced me to Scrum. In the early days when I was learning Scrum, he patiently answered my burning question. Yeah, I'm kind of a rebel person back in the days, but so it's not a pretty conversation as I remembered. So I'm sorry, Navin. Thank you very much for your guidance and experience. I would also like to mention Ethan Su. He's from CI Agile and also one of my mentor in Scrum. He guided me on how I can use Scrum the right and proper way. And of course, lots of other individuals in my LinkedIn connection who taught me about Agile and Scrum. I would also like to recommend some reading material. Of course, number one is the Scrum Guide. Please read it 1,000 times if you are a Scrum Master. Number two, the Phoenix and the Unicorn Project books is a fictional storybooks about DevOps, good for a layman and a non-technical person. I'm enjoying both books and I recommend that you check those out. Number three, the freely available ebook about True Scrum. You can search it over the internet. It's from Jeff Sutherland himself, the creator of Scrum. It's all about hyper-productive teams, leans, and all that. I would also like to recommend that you read it. And sure.
Can you name the author name? Free ebook of True Scrum.
Can't remember the author, but you can just Google it, and definitely you will come to that. You can just Google True Scrum, and then you can definitely go. We will go to that link.
Thanks.
No problem. And last but not least, the Google Podcast, the Scrum Master Toolbox by Vasco Duarte. Personally, I think this is the best podcast for Scrum Master alike. Vasco likes to invite Scrum Masters and Agile practitioners from all the world to share their thoughts and Scrum experience. So check that out too. And of course, good luck and all the best. So now I'm open the floor to any question. Feel free to ask anything. If you are not connected yet on LinkedIn, please connect so we can continue our relationship and learn from each other. I apologize if I've offended you in any way of the session, but if this sharing did not meet your expectation, let me know. But if you feel the session is beneficial and would like me to give the sharing to your colleague or organization, let me know. Please DM me. It's a free session, no worries. We learn from each other. And lastly, thank you so much everyone for listening to my short, never-ending story. I really appreciate for all of you for coming here today. Thank you so much, and the floor is yours, Jane.
I think there's the one question on Q&A from Vincent. So I think Vincent asking in DevOps release, what does the fund means?
Sorry.
Q&A box.
In DevOps release FM, what does FM? FM is we call it FM, but it's more or less like announcement in our teams. And also they are automatically for every release, our releases and every hot fixes and bug fixes, the DevOps team will announce it in this DevOps release FM. It's kind of like a radio. It's not like a radio. It's just like if you're using Teams, you know what I mean. It's kind of like a plug-in Teams that you can do this. How often do you meet the friend of Scrum? Occasionally, actually, as needed. Because it's not part of like the process. They can have the access to us anytime that they want. So it's as needed. If I would like to answer the questions, we invite our stakeholders or the friends of Scrum to our review session, so we can have the input from them as well. So to answer your question, how often it is as needed. How to build a network of Scrum Master? How to build a network of Scrum Master? Actually, if I'm answering you this right, you can always join the LinkedIn groups. I think it's Agile and Scrum Master Practitioner, something like that. And then you can always join that group, and definitely you can ask questions there and build your network there to know more about Scrum and also Agile. That's the first step that you can do.
You also can join our Agile30.
Thank you, Nawawi. And how do you manage risk and dependency? Okay, so in our planning, we do put aside some, buffer in our planning. I mean, there is some buffers in our plannings. Usually, if we we plan for like a 50 story points. I know some of you are not very keen in story points, but as I said, my organization is my stream. Your organization is your sprint. So it's up to the team. If it's work, it's work. But to answer your question, is how do you manage risk and dependency if we are using the capacity planning? So if we have the enough capacities to tackle all the risks and dependencies dependency that arise during our sprint, we definitely use this buffer to do that. If this answer your question, Aryan. And then, who are the Kaizen Council? Where do they get input from? Okay, for the Kaizen Council is usually our development directors, products owners, and product directors. So all these product directors, product owners, and also development directors will meet up in one session. Usually it's 2-week session. I mean, every 2 weeks they will meet up, and if there is any improvement that we need to relay to our development team, we definitely will discuss in the Kaizen Council. How do you define one story point? Okay, that is a good question. So actually, it all depends on how you define, how do you it's all about the team. Sometimes one is equals to 1 days, two equal to 2 days. But this is what we have been doing like 1 year before. But now we are moving to relate the one story points to the complexity, the risk, and also the sizing of the task itself. So that is how we define our one story points, or 2 story points. Our product writers are writers are BA, writers are BA, business analysis. Usually, user stories is being written by the product owner itself. Product owner will be the one who responsible to write all the user stories. What are Scrum metric that you use? We are using our capacity planning as a way on we are using the capacity planning for estimate our capacity to tackle all the user stories in the sprints. For the Scrum metrics, we are not using the burn down or velocity if that is if that is what you mean. We only use the capacity planning to tackle all the to foresee our plannings in the sprint. Sorry for this, it has been raised earlier. How should the Scrum Master do if the developer don't feel like attending the daily Scrum meetings, as is a required routine and it's like a progress testers session? Okay, that's a good question. Actually, everybody needs to know the importance of the daily Scrum. So the daily Scrum is where everybody meets to inspect and adapt to the objective of the sprint. The goal of the sprint. So everybody needs to know that if there is any challenges or is there any obstacle that other team members facing that hindered them to achieve our sprint goal at the end of the sprint. So usually in the daily Scrum, we tell everybody that this is importance. This we know, so that everybody knows what we've been doing, and anything that been challenges that any others team members is facing. So it's important that we attend the daily Scrum. It's not a progress status actually. 1 day is 6.5 hours after taking away 20. Is not that is not how we calculate the 1 day to 60.1. So the buffer time is the accumulations of every team member's time. So it's around 10% of every team members. 1% of the accumulation of all the team members. So one organization where my friends work, they don't have retrospective meet. Are they following Scrum? Will Scrum fail in that organization? I will not say it definitely will fail, but it will definitely will not have a continuous improvement in the Scrum. The objective of Scrum is that we have a continuous improvement for every things and works that we do. So that is how we do it. That is how the importance of the retrospective meetings. Because if you're following my session just now, the only session, for the only events in Scrum that promote the continuous improvement, it is the Scrum Retrospective. So it's compulsory actually to have that session. What are the key points of you considering when looking at Scrum Masters from development? What are the key points that you considered when looking at the Scrum Master from development team shoes and understanding their feeling opinion about Scrum Master roles?
So shall I rephrase it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so in this scenario, I'm just considering you as not a Scrum Master, part among the development team. And when you're talking with them, they have their own opinions, feelings, emotions, right, about this particular role called Scrum Master.
Okay.
So in generally, what they talk about, because there are too many things as Scrum Master doing the team. So what is their feelings about you, and how you take that and implement on again yourself as Scrum Master?
Actually, the role of Scrum Master is not taking actions. They empower the team to make a decision themselves. It's for their team. So the role of the Scrum Master is to empower the team to make decisions and to show them the way on how to make the decisions. Scrum Masters will be the one who will encourage everybody's have their own opinions. So their task is to hear their opinion and let everybody knows. Everyone knows that the opinion is being heard to everybody's. So that's if that answered your questions, Kausing.
Partially, not 100%. So
Okay.
you are still talking. Okay, let us not discuss much about this. I know Scrum Master is a facility maker, but what I'm question is, what is the development team's perspective about this particular role? And when you hear that, the negative impressions, how do you convert that into positive?
Okay. Scrum Master is, for me, Scrum Master is not like a job kind of, it's not a position, it's a role, like you said in the question itself. It's a role. So Scrum Master is accountable to all the decision, all the opinion from the team. So for answering your question, if it's to have like a positive opinion about a Scrum Master role, is that a Scrum Master need to hear everybody's opinions and not let everybody knows and let everybody knows that their opinion is being heard. That's my answers. If it answers your questions. Due to a tight schedule and some unforeseen circumstances, can the retrospective meeting can be executed in the new Scrum cycle? No, it must be in the current sprint. At the end of the sprint, as Scrum Master mainly focus on as part of his job. Okay, as this is not questions. Krishna.
Khairul, as a Scrum Master, mainly focus on what he will be focusing on and what is the actual part of his job. As you already mentioned, okay, he need to empower the decisions,
Yeah,
and he need to take he should make the team to take decision and resolve the impediments.
yeah,
And by collaborating them, he try to resolve the queries by coordinating properly.
yeah. That's
And apart from this, any specific, I just want curious about to know.
yeah. As Scrum Master, one of the job is to empower the team, and one of the part the main jobs of a Scrum Master is to facilitate all the needs of the team itself. I mean, besides the facilitate the events and also the ceremonies, I mean, it should be some sort like relay the information to the right owner of the right respective persons. So that is one of the parts of Scrum Master's role, as my opinion. It might be different because I can't really remember what is the main focus of Scrum Masters do, but that is mainly the focus of Scrum Masters. Scrum is in demand more than Safe, and Safe is more demand across organization. Actually, I can't really answer it because I'm not in the Safe environment. Because what I'm seeing is that in a big organization, they employ the Safe framework for their organization. But my personal opinion is start with a simple Scrum if you are not implementing it yet, because my personal opinion, Safe is already a very complex frameworks. So to implement it to a big organization is gonna be hard, but it's up to the decision of the organization. I don't know the correct numbers if Scrum or Safe is the demands of these both framework. If the Scrum development is smooth, what is the Scrum Master daily activity during that Scrum duration? Like busy or happy hour? Okay. Now, I mean, of course, the Scrum Master have lots of other things to do. Besides empower the team, they need to find lots of things that to help the teams. I mean, they need to come up with a metrics like the earlier questions, anything that can be visible to the team as like a performance metric, even though they know that even though they feel that they are performing very very well, but using the Scrum data that Scrum Masters prepare, uh, they can know what they are performing at. So not only they are act busy or happy hour. Do you mean this book? Yes. By just Samsung, yes. Can we use Scrum in a bigger organization instead of Safe? Of course, we can use a Scrum in a bigger organization instead of Safe, because Scrum, I mean, Agile30 is a big company actually. I mean, even though it's only 300 people, we are using Scrum to deliver our value. So if it can be implemented in Agile30, it can be implemented in any of our organization. Okay. Any more questions from the audience? I hope it's
Another questions. Can you hear me, Khairul?
sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I have a question. Do you think it is important if we have the onboarding sequence for new joiners to your organizations, like with Agile, sharing knowledge, with groups, trying to adapt to know Agile better?
Yeah, we have that practice in LS Retail. We have like an onboarding session and introduce the Scrum and our cultures and also the environments and stuff like that. we have a specific Scrum onboarding session for all newcomers in our organizations. So we have the same understandings. It's kind of like a revision if they are well known with Scrum. Any more questions? You can always add me in the LinkedIn, and then you can always DM me or message me in the LinkedIn for any question if we don't have any time after this. Okay, Jane?
So I hope everyone enjoy the session since we don't have any more questions. Can enjoy the sessions. So Khairul, I may need you to stay with me.
Thank you very much for everyone who's attending this session. Thank you very much for the opportunities. Feel great to be here. Yeah, we need to have some connection after this. Just send me the connection. Connection request in the LinkedIn if we are not already connected. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for
Thank you so much, everyone. Hope to see you in the next webinar sessions. To follow us.
All right. Thank you.